So what brings you to Rwanda, Teddy?
Well, what brought me here was pretty much the research that I've been doing about Rwanda, and just knowing that I wanted to take my life to another level, and I feel like I've made the accomplishments that I've made in the States. Now it's time to make a move, and I don't desire to live in America anymore.
It's time to go back to the African roots.
Exactly, it's time to come home.
So how has been your experience since you've come to Rwanda, since day one?
So amazing. I can only say, my biggest experience was with the gorillas. And I had the most incredible time, just some of the people there who've been there for a while. Our new friend, Francois, I think it's Francis? Francis. It's Francis, and they call him Nine. Mm-hmm. So everyone knows him, and I got to know him, and we did some amazing things together, and, they had other, guards and other people, but I just followed him because he was like, he had no fear. So it was the amazing thing, just being there at the Volcanoes National Park. So that was one of my experiences. And then going to amazing restaurant where we met, and that's Soy, and different fashion stores and things that, I just wanted to see and just get to know the culture. So I'm really amazed, and the beauty of the people, the spirit of the Rwanda people are so beautiful. So
as a music producer who has worked, of course, with legends, what do you feel, legends, how do you feel about the music? Of course, the music has evolved over the years. They call you the king of the new
Jack Swing.
New Jack Swing, yes. So how does it feel to see music evolving each and every year?
I feel great. I've been working with a lot of the African artists from different places, and now coming here and knowing that there are great artists here that I can work with. That's my goal, is to, try to see how I can build with other Rwanda artists.
So. African music in general.
Yeah.
How do we, it's one thing to make music, but it's another thing to break the barriers. What would be your advice to the African music or the African musicians today who are trying to break the barriers to get into the US charts, billboards and stuff like that? What does it take?
Well, I can't really predict that, you just gotta do it. Like any of my music that I've made, I didn't predict it being a hit. I would never say that. I'll just do it and just make it, for me, it feels good. So music that feels good, I think it has the potential. And a lot of the music that I hear from Rwanda and all the different artists around Africa, it all feels amazing. But one thing I feel is what I can bring to the table is just kind of broadening it and taking it to a direction where it doesn't sound so repetitious or the same, kind of change up the cadence a little, but keep the African, and Afro beats, or whether it's traditional African music, keep that going.
Of course you
just like what I did with No Diggity, taking blues and mixing it with New Jack Swing, and it worked for me.
It did wonders, of course.
Yeah.
You've been to Nyundo School of Music. What was your impression of the young musicians who are in school trying to do their best there?
Amazing. I went there and I wanted to stay. It was just so breathtaking, and the way these kids is just, so articulate. They know how to improvise, and they're great improvisers, because we did that spur of the moment, just coming up with just performing No Diggity, and they got it right away, and that's what real DNA of music is. It is, it's like these kids have it in their DNA, and not just the kids on the stage, the kids in the audience. When they did a song, and I think it was their first song or the second song, the whole congregation, they all were singing when the music just dropped, and I didn't hear an off note.
Wow.
So that tells you right there, it's in their DNA. So.
What does it take then to make a good producer? Because we have so many producers upcoming, those who we think are making it.
Well, for me, in my opinion, of what it would take to just be a good producer is just keep producing and keep breaking barriers and be yourself. You know, don't try to be anyone else or copy anyone else. You can be inspired, but do your thing. And that's what, you know, makes a great producer. You know, I've been around a lot of the great producers, and my idol, which is Quincy Jones and Prince and Stevie Wonder, and it's all the greats, you know, they've really inspired me to do what I'm doing. You know, so.
What's your next big project? You know, I know COVID has hit so many people, but I'm sure for you as a producer, could have been the best time to produce the music, was it?
For me, I'm just feeling my way out. I have an artist that I'm working with now, Folly. I'm working with Folly, he's from Congo. And just trying to figure out who I can work with here, you know, and I'm coming back. I'll be back, I think, in about a month. And I'm coming to set up shop. I've seen the house I love, and I'm just ready to go. You know, I said to my guys, I said, can we stay longer? And they extended my trip. So that's how I'm still here. We were supposed to leave today. So I said, man, I want to stay longer, and if I could stay even longer, I will. You know, just to kind of know even more about Rwanda. And, you know, I haven't been anywhere, everywhere. We only been here, 5 days, 6 days. So I'm gonna come back and finish my round and move into the house, and then just kind of get started on my project, which is the soundtrack of my documentary and my book. And then I'm also working with an artist named Phaedra, and then Folly from Congo. And then hopefully I'm kind of like a multitasker. I like to work on different projects at the same time so that you can differentiate with projects, you know, like everything don't sound the same. And I did that when I worked with Michael Jackson and Bobby Brown. So I went from Michael Jackson, came back and did my Bobby Brown, and before that I was working with Jane Child, Keith Sweat, and Guy at the same time. So I like working on projects that are, you know, just different artists, because you can actually really hear the difference, and that's just what I want to do here.
But before I let you go, there's this question that everybody on social media, you know, was asking. Please ask him, you know, how did it feel when Michael Jackson, you know, made that call and say, come be my producer? You know, people, you know, he's a legend.
I always say to everyone, I've never been so nervous, but at the same time, I've never been nervous and then felt comfortable afterwards, because he made me feel comfortable about working with him. Because, you know, sometimes you have to tell someone, listen, let me know when I'm singing off key, let me know what I'm doing, you know, and I'm giving you that control. So he gave me the creative control to do what I did for the album. And it worked.
It worked, it did, indeed it worked. Well, thank you very much for making time to
Thank you for having me, and I look forward, you know, to
of course,
doing this.
welcome back to Rwanda.
Talking about a new project from an artist from Rwanda. I'll be back here, and we'll talk about it.
We can't wait.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, as usual, my name is Fiona Babazi. Thank you very much for joining us. Have yourselves a lovely evening and a good night. And do remember that COVID-19 is still out there, so you play a role in flattening the curve.